picture perfect. Everything ain't always picture perfect.
Yeah, it seems we always got a problem. All I ever tried to do was give you help. Used to wonder if you love me. Now I wonder if you even love yourself. Can you tell me why we're yelling? We're at the mall and all these kids don't need to hear all the secrets you've been telling. You said I wanna be clear, sometimes we fall out of line.
Sometimes we ain't in the right mind. Sometimes we fall out of line. Everything ain't always picture perfect. Sometimes we ain't in the right. Everything ain't always picture perfect.
Perfect, perfect, no.
Everything ain't always picture perfect. Picture perfect. Everything ain't always picture perfect.
Yeah, here you go, you getting started. I say I love you, you won't even say it back. Why'd I bring you to this party? That dress is sitting, but your attitude so whack. It's been getting so much harder. I start to wonder now if you can even see you gon' leave me broken hearted. That's when you said I wanna be free. Sometimes we fall out of line.
Sometimes we ain't in the right mind. Sometimes we fall out of line. Everything ain't always picture perfect. Sometimes we ain't in the right. Everything ain't always picture perfect.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
All right, folks. Hello, everybody. Yes, it is Michael Voss. I am the Dragon of the Southern Tier, and I am back with you. And Turner Broadcasting, you can go and do something to yourselves because I'm on and you will not silence my voice. So if people are wondering, that's in reference to the Democratic debate last night where Turner Broadcasting used the full power of their multi-billion-dollar industry to try and silence us from being able to make commentary. I will not be silenced. But I promised in a promo about this that I'm not going to be talking about politics a whole lot, that we're actually going to take a slight break from politics to talk about something that I think is a little more interesting. Because we have in studio with us is Matthew Cornwell. He is a musician. He has his album Icarus that came out recently. He's a friend of the program. And of course, we do want to mention that he has we have his videos that play on the program from time to time. And that's just another clip of one of the many programs that he has on, many songs that he's had that we've played on the show. So we're going to have him on in just a second. But we do want to highlight that he's going to be performing, and we'll go into this in more detail with him, in the Southern Tier region. There is something that's called Speedy Fest. It is a huge, huge event, and we're looking at 30,000 people from Pennsylvania, all around New York coming to this. And the band Kansas will be playing. Opening for the band Kansas will be our friend Matthew Cornwell. So actually, I've been talking about it so much, let me stop beating around the bush here and let me actually get Matthew live on with us. Oops, wait a minute. And that's a little bit. There we go.
The joys of being extra tall.
Yeah. It's set for people shorter.
Hey, guys.
There we go. We got him in. He is, by the way, if you're wondering, Matt is what? You're 6'4", 6'6"?
6'6", yeah.
6'6". Okay, makes me feel very short when I'm standing next to him.
That effect on a lot of people, actually.
Yeah. And we're going to pump up your volume because he's very soft-spoken, but you should hear him. When he's singing, loud as all heck, but it's when you're talking regular, you're just like real demure.
It's an early one, too. We had a rehearsal last night, and so I'm a little raspy at the moment, but glad to be here.
The joys of being a musician that 10:30 in the morning is considered early.
Yes, 10:30 is way before my wake-up time.
I can understand. And I've known you a long time now. We've known each other for quite a few years. Actually, my day job, we worked together at one of them.
Yep.
I won't speak about that company because not a great company. But anyway, and that's in the past. But you know, we want to thank you because on the program, many people see that we do music breaks. And when we do our music breaks, we very often will highlight a lot of the local artists that are around in the area. And you're one of the featured artists, and you've given us permission to promote and show your work.
And I do appreciate you doing that as well. So
yeah, well, we believe in working with the local artists, getting them the exposure, and helping them as much as we can. I've often said, and you've probably heard me say this privately, I don't mind if you make $10 million and I make $1 million. Everyone's happy. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't I do that? So if I can help you become a major recording artist, I'm happy. And, we'll get a little bit more people watching the videos. I'll be happy with that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I am going to start off with something a little bit political, just because it is generally a political program. So I'm going to ask you, did you see the Democratic debate last night?
I didn't actually because of rehearsals. Yeah.
Okay. And I know you're not a big politics guy. Although we've had many conversations about politics.
Yes, we have. Yeah.
And when I say that, most people aren't as political as I am. I'm a political junkie, obviously. That's part of the job. So I don't expect most people to be doing what I do, 6 hours, 8 hours a day. Have you been following the election, the 2020 election at all?
Lately, I've been introduced, obviously, to some of the candidates, but honestly, after last night, I'm looking forward to kind of catching some of the highlights and getting up to speed on the whole thing. Oh, there's going to be a lot of highlights. It was, well, I'm not going to say. Yeah, I will definitely look back on your musings on it too. I'm interested to know what you think about it as well. Up until I got blocked by Turner Broadcasting. Censorship. That is censorship. I'm really pissed off about that censorship. I won't even get into it. But separate of that, let's actually talk about one of the big things. I mean, you've been working, we featured some of your bands, we've featured some of your songs. You've been a musician for how many years now? How many decades? Oh, well, I'm only 2.5 decades old. Well, yeah, but it's been, well, yeah. It's been the better part of all that. I mean, I've always done music, but professionally now it's going on probably about, I'd say 8 years. I'm almost 10 years now. 10 years as a professional. Mm-hmm. And I know I've seen a lot of your videos and a lot of your work. I've seen you live with a couple of bands and just yourself as well. Mm-hmm. And you're a crowd pleaser. You do a great job. Thank you. I'm still waiting for the La Bamba version, though. I know. I do. I forgot that you did. You did throw that out there, and that's such a great idea. We got to get that in there. Yeah, I think you do a great cover of that. Yeah. But you've had a lot of success. I mean, you've built up a big audience. You've got an audience that's online on YouTube that follow you regularly. You've toured. What are some of the cities you've hit? It's a lot of mostly, Northeast regional, a lot of Pennsylvania, pretty much every part of New York. And then I spent some time in Vegas, a little bit of time in Atlanta. That was pretty brief, but I've been bouncing all over the place, over the last 10 years.
Well, that's not a small thing. You've been in quite a few places. That's pretty big. So let me ask you, of the places that you've toured at, that you've had shows at, which one is the one that's your most favorite?
Oh, well, I will have to say the most exciting shows have been at Peterson's Tavern right down the street here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I've been in a lot of different places, and the crowd there is really they're always excited to be there. I think Peterson's creates a really good environment, and they bring a good crowd around, and they're there to have a good time. They're there to listen to some music, so they always show up and they're ready to party.
Well, that's for sure. Now you cover a large genre of music. I mean, I'm mentioning La Bamba because I know you've covered, and if you hear noise in the background, that's my little puppy there.
He's a good dog.
But separate of Khan's input, you cover a wide range. I mean, you've done soul, you've done rock, you've done pop. I've heard you do all kinds of music over the years. Is there a particular style of music that you favor?
No. Well, I could say what I favor right now because it changes so often. I mean, when I first started making music, I just rapped. That was that was actually the first song I ever made was a rap song. And then, as I started making projects, the first one I think was mostly rap and a little bit of singing. But I came in on the Drake era, where it was kind of like that was what you needed to do,
Yes.
to keep things interesting. And then I started moving towards R&B. Then I moved towards pop, and now recently, because of the band and picking up the guitar, I've started to kind of do folk and country and rock and stuff like that, and it's just expanded. So it's been interesting. It's been kind of an exciting evolution of my interest in music.
Yeah, you did a really great. The band was called the Gypsies at the time. You did a great cover of, and I've featured it many times on the show and the music breaks of Stevie Wonder's "Higher Ground."
Oh yeah,
which I thought was wonderful. I did the music, the video for that. And I like that music video. I thought it came off, but I love the music. It was just really great. And that's an example of some of the different things. What would you say is the widest, given all the different types of music that influence you? One, what are the different types of music that influence you? And two, what would you say is the most surprising, or people are surprised by the type of song that you may sing, that genre?
Well, especially, I suppose people are typically surprised at the country tunes that I do, especially just because of the style of music that I typically make. I think people are less surprised by blues and rock.
Right.
But I'm such a fan of Chris Stapleton, his songwriting ability. He's got such a powerful voice. I love covering his tunes, and I do a lot of one that always works is "Jumper" by Third Eye Blind, and
Okay.
that's why I love that band. So that usually surprises people, but people are very pleasantly surprised because I don't think there's anybody on this planet that doesn't know the words to that song. Like everywhere you go, and I've played it in places where I thought no one was gonna engage in it. I feel like they would know it, but I didn't think they would engage, and they love that song. So that's always good. But yeah, other than that, I think I've just been like a John Mayer junkie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
John Mayer.
Yeah, I've been diving into that whole discography and kind of picking that apart because he's such a triple threat when it comes to. He's a great singer. He's probably one of the best guitar players in the world, and his songwriting ability is so intimate. The way that he writes, it just expresses the emotions of relationships and of being a man very well, in my opinion.
Well, that brings up something because you actually have more talents than just singing, and that's a great talent in and of itself. But you're also able to play. I know you play the guitar, and you play something else as well, right?
I actually started playing the ukulele before I picked the guitar.
Ukulele, right?
I'm definitely not a guitar player. It would be an embarrassment to anyone who's ever played the guitar for longer than a year to
I've seen you play the guitar. You're not bad.
No, I like it. I like to play the guitar, but like even when I started, it was just as a function of, creating a medium to sing, because that's really what I do.
Right.
And so I've really gotten obsessed with it, and it's grown, more. I'm able to do more things, but I am not a guitar player by a long shot. And I haven't picked the ukulele up in a while either. I need to do that. My sister's still...
Yes, I was going to bring up the family is very musical, and your sister Callie, she's really great with the ukulele. She's also a little bit taller. You got a very tall family.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting watching you at 6'6" with a little tiny ukulele playing away.
Yeah, and it's funny, and that's what, like, when I first started, that's what people, anybody who was trying to give me like career input was like, buddy, listen, it's great that you play that thing, but you gotta pick a bigger instrument up. I was like, all right, noted, but.
Yeah, because it looks like it's kind of Tiny Timish. I don't know if do you know Tiny? Yeah, okay.
That's exactly.
It's a little Tiny Timish, but
Yeah.
at the same time, you play serious songs. It's not like you aren't doing the Tiny Tim sophistry or jokes with it. You're a serious singer.
Yeah, and it was just, honestly, when I reflect on it, it was just general laziness that I didn't feel like holding a whole guitar, and that was why I did it. And if I finally kind of broke through that, but it was a good segue into playing guitar. You start with something with 4 strings, a lot smaller, a lot easier to kind of work your way around, and then add a couple strings on, and it just turns into a whole different planet.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit. Like I said, you're going to be over playing at Speedy Fest. It's one of the major festivals here in the Southern Tier region. There's expected to be something like 30,000 people who will be coming out to see you and to see Kansas, and all of the balloon races, all of the people coming out. It's going to be it is always a huge event. So let me ask you, how did you get to open for Kansas?
Well, it was kind of a series of events. At the same time, I worked with a company called South 60, their production company locally, and they do a lot of video work, music videos, weddings, and they're just generally amazing guys. And so they approached me about doing like a cover video in their studio, and we did a cover of Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. And that's another one that I think that people were surprised by, and I think that actually that surprise kind of gave way, a little more confidence in Era, my girlfriend. Actually, she did a little bit of legwork there too, and got in some people's ears, and it just kind of panned out.
Okay. For people who may be watching this on YouTube, who may be watching this on LinkedIn or Facebook, we're live on all of them. There was a second there that we had a little bit of droppage, so I apologize for that. That's not on me. It's probably Turner Broadcasting again attacking us. I'm not letting that go. I'm pissed off about the censorship. I'm pissed off that they actively are blocking content. But that being said, but let me ask you. So, looking at, you got the opportunity. People worked together, believed in you, got you the opportunity so that you could open for Kansas. And by the way, did the band Kansas, did they have any input on that?
I did have to send video of the band for their management's approval. Yeah.
So they approve of you. It's fair to say they approved of you opening for them.
Yeah, I guess. At least the video gave them confidence that we won't go up there and just muck it up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And those are my words, by the way, folks. I'm saying that Kansas is an approval of you. They didn't say that publicly, but they haven't denied it either.
Yeah, I didn't get that phone call, thank goodness.
Right. Is there a certain type of lineup? Because Kansas, it's a great band, really well known. Do you have a certain way that you want to approach it? Is there a certain style you're going to go with, or did they ask you to go with certain songs out of your library?
No. They gave us, well, I can't even say they gave us anything. We've been given free rein to, kind of shape it however we want. But I think by the nature of the band and the music we've created recently, and the songs, off of the original projects that we like to do, it's just going to be, I'm so confident it's going to be a great fit for the crowd that's going to be there. And It's just we're playing at home. I mean, I know it's a big stage, but we're right at home, so it's just gonna be a really exciting situation, and I'm ready to just give them what we got.
Any brand new songs that you can hint at here that I can say, like, is it a new original that you're going to be presenting?
Well, this band has not produced an original record yet. The band hasn't. We initially were gathered together to do shows for the songs off of that album Icarus,
right?
Which was a solo album. And as we began to do those things, just like, again, by the nature of this group of guys and what we like to do, we started creating original music. And so this is going to be kind of the debut of the band. And the band is called Labonte.
I was about to say.
Yeah. It's called Labonte. It's French for the bountiful or the bounty. And that's just because that's how we've kind of just felt very bountiful in what we've been blessed with since this, since this all came to be. But we will be debuting, most of our original content. There's going to be songs. Be Free was the song on WBNG that I did the other day, and I love playing that with the whole band. It's such an experience. Sunshine, which was a song that was written for my goddaughter. And Through the Pines, which is a very... I wouldn't call it hard rock, but it's about as close as we get to hard rock. It's a very edgy rock song, and a lot of it is rock. I would call it like American rock, basically what we do. So it's gonna be fun.
Well, that's the important thing. That's what it's supposed to be. It's everyone wants to be there for fun. By the way, I'm just double checking in case anyone's making comments on Facebook, Twitter. Obviously, we're always looking forward to that, and we always like to hear people. And we've got, let's say, about 8 minutes thereabouts. And I know there's a political event that's going on in Binghamton right now that may be drawing some of the more political people. But for everyone else, please send us, 607-242-9247. Send me a text if you have a question while I have Matthew Cornwell here with us talking about Speedy Fest, talking about him performing throughout all of the Binghamton Broome nationally, everywhere, as well as opening for Kansas during Speedy Fest. Which days are you going to be opening for that?
That's going to be Sunday, August 4th. We're playing at 4 p.m.
4 p.m. on August 4th. Oh, that's easy to remember.
4 on the 4th, man. I should have been pushing that. That's a good one. That's good.
Well, you've gotten a lot of advertising, and there's been a lot of very positive feedback from the community for you at this event.
Yeah,
I thought
it's been amazing. Honestly, it's been amazing. Like, I always knew that of this town. I think some people who live here maybe stay here too long. They get a negative outlook on it. But this town and the city, the people around it are so supportive, and they always have been. And I'm could not be more grateful for that, for where I'm from.
No, definitely, and it's because you have the talent, you've done the work, and people have gotten to get to know you as a performer and to see what you do. And I think that is part of that feedback loop,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've tried. It's been an interesting ride. It's been shorter than even I, realize sometimes. I mean, the band's been together for like 1.5 years now. I mean, I've been every guy in the band is 10 to 15 years into the music industry or the music game, and myself included. But to come together and to have only been together for 1.5 years and here we are. There's not really words for it. I'm just so prepared. I mean, when I play with those guys, there is this feeling of just complete comfort, and we understand each other well. We get along well. And the music that we create is so exciting to me. So it's a good place to be.
I think so. After looking forward to after Speedy Fest, you said the band hasn't recorded anything. Are you looking to go into the studio, a set of originals, covers, or do you have is this getting you the exposure right now? Is that getting you new events, maybe a tour nationally or even locally?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're so excited to do that, and it's been something that we're kind of like over eager, all of us, to do. We really want to get in there and put something on wax, but we've got a few more dates through the summer. And I mean, we have things through the fall and winter, but we'll have a little more space to get in the studio and actually put something together for people to, put in their car or put in their headphones and listen to. But I think after Speedy Fest, I believe I know we're doing the State Fair on the 24th. I know we're doing Peterson's again on the 30th. And then I think we're doing Greek Peak on the 31st.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a couple of events there.
Oh, if I could, I do have to say, August, and I haven't gotten a chance to say this outwardly, August 10th, I believe. Yeah, August 10th, there's a benefit for some of the people at Bundy that lost their home in a fire. And the band is going to be there, I believe at 8:40 we play, like for an hour. And I would encourage anybody and everybody, to come down and support those guys, because they are some of the best people that I know. They've been holding that place down for years, and they really deserve, to see the support that the city has shown me, has shown us all.
Well, to clarify for people who are outside the region, of course, you're always welcome to come into Binghamton. That's in Binghamton on Main Street, the Bundy Museum, where the event will be at. And you said you're playing at what time again?
8:40.
8:40
Yeah.
p.m.
Yes,
folks.
Not a.m.
Not a.m. But p.m. And that'll be on August 10th. So we're always happy. And it's a good cause to help people who've been displaced because of fire, because of just difficulties in life. And so we're always happy to promote any kind of event like that. And
you express that so much more eloquently than me. I think I'm just going to have you speak.
It's kind of my job,
Well done, sir.
But that's, and I'm glad to hear about that, and to know that this isn't a single move. This is what we're talking about is just a whole path, a whole adventure of the things that you're doing, all the things you've been doing. A lot of younger musicians, they obviously there's a lot of challenges. It's difficult. And this isn't some TV show like American Idol or The Voice or any of that. This is the real world. Mm-hmm. So if there's something that you could say to an up-and-coming musician, what would you tell them that kind of like the encouragement you may have received when you first started off?
Oh, well, I said in an interview once, I had said, and when asked a similar question, I had said, don't ever sing quietly because you're afraid of people to hear you. Mm-hmm. Because I think it's not even that you're not giving yourself the ability to, grow your voice or strengthen your voice. It's that you're training yourself to not be yourself in front of people, And I think that when I was young, but I think everybody is that way. When they're young, you're afraid to sing out loud and, be that person because you're just drawing attention to yourself. And sometimes people aren't comfortable with attention. I wasn't when I was young, but I love to sing. And I think that I probably wasted some time, fearing the attention that it would draw. Mm-hmm. And so that would be my first advice to anybody young. I went and spoke at my high school, Susquehanna Valley here, and to some kids in a music theory class, and I told them that when I was in chorus, I didn't want to sing high because all the guys would pick on you. Of course. And God bless my the teacher there, Jim Apicella. I was like, I want to be a baritone. I want to sing low just because it's easier, and you can just kind of hide
blend in a little bit.
And he was like, no, you're a tenor. You're gonna sing these high notes, and so he kind of kept me on it. But that's where I would start, and then after that, just there's a difference between loving somebody and loving the idea of somebody. Mm-hmm. There's a difference between loving music and loving the idea of being a musician.
Right.
And I think I see a lot of that. And I would just say, just be honest with yourself, because if you love the idea of being a musician and that's what you want to do, there's plenty of people that find a lot of success in that. So I would just advise that the sooner you figure out exactly what it is you're in it for, the quicker what you want will come to you, because you won't be chasing
The wrong dream.
right. Yeah. So I mean, there's plenty of 7 foot something guys in the NBA who would have been doctors and probably wanted to be doctors, but were like, well, I can make 6 figures staying in shape and playing basketball. There's a lot of people that are like, well, I can play the guitar and I can sing really well, and maybe it's not what I love, or I don't love touring, or I don't really love being in the studio, but it can be a very lucrative career. So,
But for you, is it the love of the music?
oh yeah, if I wasn't with the band doing this, I would still be a bar star, man. I would just like.
And you have been.
I'd be. Yeah, I have had my moment. I would be at every open mic. I was always going down with the ship, man.
And there's been a lot of musicians who've gotten national and international fame that were starting off in bars. Billy Joel. What's the one? God is great. God is wonderful. She's from Vegas. I forget her name at this moment. Sure. But there's a few of them. So it is part of the path, and it's getting used to being around people and being able to perform.
Yeah.
And I know I can relate in a way. I do not sing. I don't want to hurt anyone's ears, including my own. But when I started speaking and doing public speaking, and to this day, I still get stage fright. The first 30 seconds of me being in front of a crowd, whether it's 5 people or where I've spoken to 2,000 people, 2,000 to 5,000 people, and been on TV, it's always that first 30 seconds. I'm just like, oh my God, And then it's after that. Once I get past that moment, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, it's a huge energy exchange, right? Like that's you trying to give enough energy to however many people you have in front of you. And when it's thousands, you're almost like trying to line it up, and connect there. And you have to find that traction. But once you do, and I think that the people who thrive are the people who do. Once some people can stay under that, in that connection without actually creating the connection. They can just stay there, give what they need to give, and leave. But then there's people who can find that connection, find that traction, and then you can kind of fluctuate the energy and bring people up to your level or down to a level, or you can move them, you can move with them.
And that's most effective. That's when you really feel an event.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the ones you walk away from and everybody's like, man, that was a good time. And you're like, man, that was a great delivery or a great performance. Like, that's what's important. There's times you go out there and you just don't connect. And you're still there. I mean, you're still giving them something, but there's a difference when you're all on a ride together. I think that's the biggest part about it.
And I gotta give you props here and my personal view, because I've seen you many times perform at various venues, and each time I've seen you, it's always been a very personal connection. And I don't say that just because I know you. I'm also seeing the crowd, and the crowd has that mood of they're with you. They're with you on that whole ride. And I think that the people at Speedy Fest, for those who haven't seen you and are introduced to you, I think they're going to find that as well.
I'm definitely hoping so. And there have been plenty of, moments where it was not, but you have to go through that to get to the other side, I suppose. There's plenty of times where it doesn't necessarily line up the way that you hope it does. But the band got together last night for a rehearsal that turned into a cookout, and
gotta have some fun with it.
Yeah, and but really the goal of it was that. I mean, it's kind of a symbolic in a way, of how we want this show to be delivered. I mean, I wanted it to be like everybody's sitting down. It's going to be Speedy Fest. Mm-hmm. We're all going to be out there having a good time, and I would like it to be like that. Like we're all just sitting down, together around the table. Just singing a couple tunes for you.
Just jamming out.
Yeah, but we're
very confident in it. And I know we've gone over a little bit on what I expected in terms of the time, but it's just a wonderful conversation.
I appreciate talking to you, man.
And I think a lot of people, for different reasons, will be able to grab something from this. And something just went dead. Okay, I'm not sure. So one of my feeds looks like it went dead. It's probably Facebook, but whatever. But we'll have this out on YouTube as well, where it shouldn't be a problem. But we're at the end of it anyway. And let me say that I wish you break a leg, as the industry says.
Yeah.
Of course. I expect to be there. I'm looking forward to this. Will this be the largest audience you guys have ever, for individually or collectively?
It's hard to say. It probably will be close.
I think it's estimated about 6,000 people.
Yeah, it should be. It'll be right around there. I'd say there's probably one or two other gigs that have been close, but this is it'll probably be the biggest.
All right. Well then, folks, this is going to be groundbreaking, and I want you to come out. And I want to definitely thank Matthew Cornwell, Labonte, and everybody for checking this out, sharing the video. Hopefully it helped up-and-coming musicians or those who are already established. Obviously, we hope it's going to help you and the band and Speedy Fest. And please give us your feedback. We'll all be looking, and I'll let Matt, if we get any context, any text messages, anything, I'll pass them on for you. We'll try and get you answers if you have any questions to make sure that you get your questions answered. But I want to thank you again for taking time to be here live with us on July 31st, talking about Speedy Fest opening for the band Kansas on August 4th at 4 p.m. And I hope everyone's going to come out and see you guys. And then we'll have you on again after that.
That'd be great. I'd love to come back. Shop it up with you.
All right, folks. So that has been Matthew Cornwell. I want to thank him again for having been here with us. Oops, wrong person. There it goes. And please check out his album Icarus. And I hope that you're going to enjoy it. I'm just going to end with one of his other songs, just so you have a little bit more. I'll probably get a content strike from Turner Broadcasting. But I'll end with his song, so you have a little flavor of how he is, and then you'll be able to hear the band as well. So I hope everyone's going to enjoy, and we look forward to seeing you very soon.
I'm down for whatever. But I wonder, do you wanna love me and we just fucking? Can I really trust it? Cause every time we touch and I've been feeling something like this ain't nothing. Baby, why you blushing? Should we make it public? Am I just bugging? Not at all. You tell me don't go chasing those waterfalls. No. You tell me don't go chasing those waterfalls. No, you tell me don't go chasing those waterfalls. Yeah, don't you go chasing on no. Yeah, party on the south side and you know I need you with me. Come through. Why you're so surprised that I asked you to ride? It just felt right. When you're by my side at the time of my life, and you don't have to lie if there ain't nothing here for you. I wonder what you're thinking now. If you think about it, if you're coming out, yeah. Just looking at your face, I couldn't say if you're really down with it. Oh, I'm so curious to know how you feel. That's when you say, can you keep it real? You wanna love me and we just fucking, can I really trust it? Cause every time we touch and I've been feeling something like this ain't nothing. Baby, why you blushing? Should we make it public? Am I just bugging? Not at all. You tell me don't go chasing those waterfalls. You wanna love me and we just fucking, can I really trust it? Cause every time we touch and I've been feeling something like this ain't nothing. Baby, why you blushing? Should we make it public? Am I just bugging? Not at all. You tell me don't go chasing those waterfalls. You tell me don't go chasing those waterfalls. Tell me don't go chasing those waterfalls.
Got my Carolina blues, so you know this song. Another night out off another love song. Yeah, champagne overflowing in my cup till I'm all so gone. working so hard, man, and that's my own. Got a GMC and I ride in the back of it. My boy, Yukon with the Yukon. I just fell in love with it. We be copping bottles on me, I can't do the math with it. All he say is Mickey man, just don't have a blast with it.